The COVID crisis has meant that many people have started their own business, especially in business coaching. Well, that's fine, and it's an easy thing to start, and I wish them well. But clients of those coaches want results, and that's the challenge for newbies. I know, I've been a coach for over 30 years. So what are those results that today's coaching clients want? I thought you needed more than just an answer from me. So I booked a Zoom call with business improvement coach Lee Houghton of Get Knowledge. Welcome, Lee.
Oh, thanks very much, Malcolm. It's an absolute pleasure to be joining you today. So thank you.
Lovely to see you. Now, before we start delving into the world of today's coaching, tell us briefly who you are, what you do, and who you do it for.
Yeah, no problem at all. So I've been in change now for about 15 years as both an internal and an external change person. The last 2 years is when myself and my business partner Jason set up Get Knowledge. But I've worked in private sector, public sector, and all different sectors to try to help enable people to learn how to deliver change successfully. So who do I help? I think is a really interesting question. And for the last 2 years, I've been trying to answer that for myself. And I've got two main people that I believe that we at Get Knowledge help primarily. So it's business leaders, primarily in service sectors, to confidently reduce their operating costs and cost to serve, to delight their customers and employees as well. So we help traditional business improvement stuff. But then I spotted a gap that a lot of change agents in businesses, they are sheep dipped in training, and they're sheep dipped in tools and methodologies, and so Lean, Sigma, Agile, and all of these things, but they're not really shown how to build rapport and become confident and influential change people. So we also help change teams transition from just surviving to thriving by developing and creating confident and influential change people. So that's who I am, what I do, and who I do it for.
Yeah, I love that expression, sheep dipping. You do realize I'll have pinched that by this next week and be using it myself. Now, let's just go back to that element that you're talking about, building confidence. How important is that? And where do you think that business leaders usually lack in confidence?
Oh, I think that's a great question, Malcolm, because confidence is such an individual thing. You can speak to one person and they'll confidently jump out of a plane at 15,000 feet, but the same person might not confidently stand on stage or stand up in front of their team. So I think confidence is such an individual thing, and it plays such a factor in what we're doing, because it is so individual. Then everybody on a team lacks confidence somewhere, and every leader lacks confidence somewhere. So when I work with business leaders and with change leaders, it's about understanding that change starts with them as a person first, and we've got to uncover where they don't necessarily feel confident. So I would say that because it's so individual, it depends on that person. But it is such an important thing for people to understand where they are confident. Are you familiar with the Dunning-Kruger effect? Have you come across that? So the Dunning-Kruger effect, there's an axis that up on the left-hand side is confidence, and then the bottom axis is about knowledge. And what they say at the start of the Dunning-Kruger effect, so the chart, it goes up like that and then like that. There's Mount Stupid at the top, and there's a lot of leaders that sit proudly at the top of Mount Stupid. So they're really confident, but they don't necessarily understand and have the knowledge to do what they do really confidently, like empower their people, because they just believe that they're in that position for the best producer, or they've done it for the longest period of time. And I think it's about really making people realize that the destination is not Mount Stupid. The destination is gaining a greater understanding of what good looks like for them as individuals. I'm not sure whether I've answered your question. I've been a little bit all over, but Dunning-Kruger for me sums up confidence. Are you a fan of X Factor?
Well, come on.
So the bit that everybody loves on X Factor is when those people come in and they sing, and then they go, oh, no, you're not very good. Yeah. But they are at the top of Mount Stupid. They believe that they are the best singer.
I totally agree. Yeah, I've judged many a competition like that, by the way.
Have you?
So, yeah. So listen, let's just stay that word confidence, because you know, out of the last 3 months, I'm not quite certain, over 120 leaders that I've interviewed across our 7 channels there, there's quite very few of them, shall I say, have the confidence on presentation. I know they've been thrust into this new world of online and that, but they feel lacking in confidence, and they're frightened to say things because we don't allow a PR person in that's prompting them, by the way. So they're suddenly on their own there. Is this a new exposure, do you think, where also confidence needs to be gained?
Yeah, I think again, Mark, that's a great question. And I think largely because the environment that they're in isn't one of high trust. So if you're at a family dinner table, you will probably say whatever you want, whenever you want. And because you're in a tight-knit community and you're in that high trusting environment. When you're in the workplace, and now our workplaces are our homes or our offices by ourselves, that if we've not spent time building trust with and building trust with our teams and really getting to know them really well on a personal level and what makes them tick, then that environment is not a trusting one. So you might have a lack of confidence because you've not got that trust with who you're giving that message to. So if you don't believe it, they won't believe it. So yeah, I think it's a huge challenge now, confidence, but I think it starts with creating that environment of high trust. So you've got that place where you can say whatever you want and your people will be there with you, buying what you're sort of picking up, what you're putting down, because they trust you. You're all aligned on where you're trying to get to. So I think it's a huge challenge for people now because they're not putting the legwork beforehand.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And it's a new and emerging challenge there. But just don't go too far with the confidence, like my wife's driving confidently. Listen, Lee, I notice also that your expertise is on helping business leaders find their challenges and then resolve them. Now, how do you go about achieving that? Finding their challenges, because lots of business leaders are quite reserved and they don't want to open up to those weaknesses.
Yeah, because I think that comes down to confidence and trust, because they've not got any, but they believe that they are in those positions because they are the best at whatever they do. And the minute you find a challenge or an opportunity to knock that, then that dents that confidence because the environment isn't trusting. They believe that somebody will be trying to get their position. So the way that we go about it is by working with the teams and the leaders collectively to align really against a common purpose. Where do they want to try to get to? Where is it in 12 months' time, 2 years' time? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And what does it sound like to be in that place? Rather than it just be some key words and a vision and a purpose statement. But what does it actually feel like, or what will it actually feel like? What will it look like? And what were the conversations that we had? And when you get everybody bought in to that, you can then have an honest conversation about what is it like now, and what do you need to change to get to that? Because you've got everybody saying, actually, yeah, I do want to get here, but I'm not here yet. So then it's natural conversation to then unpick some of the things. So I might not be able to speak out, or this process might be broken, or these customers aren't very happy with that, or that team over there don't ever respond to me. So when you depersonalize it, I think it's key. So it's not about the leader themselves. It's about the journey that team or business or organization are on. They're here now. They want to get to here. Depersonalize it from an individual, but then understand what are the things in their way of getting to where they all collectively want to get to. It's not the leader by themselves. It's the community. It's the team that need to do that together. But it starts with trust.
Excellent approach. And I totally agree with you on trust. Now, it's my experience that business leaders, yes, they want results, but they want them fast. So how realistic is that in today's current business climate? Yes, fast results can be achieved, but often they're not sustainable. What do you say to those leaders who want those fast results without solid foundations?
Yeah, I tell them to get a consultant, because
Right.
and not a and the reason why I say that is get a consultant and not a coach, because a consultant, and I think there's a distinct difference between the two. A consultant will go into a business and then after 3 weeks, 4 weeks, will stand in front of the business as the most knowledgeable person in that business and tell you where it's all broken and what they can do to fix it. But the reason why we are called Get Knowledge is because it's founded on learning. And everything starts with learning. And if you want to build capability, then you've got to learn together. A consultant will go in and tell you, actually, that process is broken. It can be improved by that much. If you pay us this amount, we'll do it for you. They'll leave. Their process might be better, but the people are not capable to do that themselves. And I think it was Socrates that said, I cannot teach you anything. I can only make you think. And if you can get people to think differently, then that's where the learning begins. That's how you can change the behavior of an organization and the people within it, by making them think. A consultant might make you think differently about that process is better than that process, but they won't be able to coach you so that your thinking changes. So you're looking out for these things, to expose them, to talk about them, and then to resolve them for yourself in the future. So I'd say, yes, quick results. Consultant is the way forward. But if you want to sustain, then that starts with learning. And it's like anything. When you learn to ride a bike, I think I read something the other week that it takes 2,000 attempts for a child to learn to walk. So, and then that's a lifelong skill. But so if you want to improve your business, improve the capability of your people, you've got to accept that it's going to take a period of time, and it starts with learning. Or getting knowledge.
Yeah, again, I'm totally agreement with you. I think that obviously the consultant thing, I've done consultancy work as well. You make somebody think and then you move on. And you might give them a little bit of learning, but if you really coach them, then they get into what I think is intentional learning, not learning because they've been told about, but intentional because they've done it from the thinking. I also noticed that one of your skills is to help leaders engage with their teams. Now, again, I totally agree with the need for this. Do you think that COVID and work from home change has made this even more imperative? And how do you go about helping leaders truly engage with teams?
Yeah, again, great question. I think, yes, this new world that we find ourselves in, where all of our communication is in a box like this now, isn't it, on a screen, where previously it might have been in front of a whiteboard like the one behind me, and getting a team around. So I've got four C's, and these are what I use to try to articulate this. So it's, the first one is connect, then it's converse, then it's collaborate, and then it's celebrate. So previously you would have connected in the same workplace at the same time, doing the same jobs, and you would converse about the things on the whiteboard or just what's happening about your day. You would collaborate together, or maybe at lunchtime, and maybe on different problems in meetings and things. And then you would celebrate. You might go to the pub or whatever at the end of the day, or you might there might be a point of the day when you say, oh yeah, we're on target and we're doing really well. But in a virtual world and in this remote world, it's about thinking about those four C's, but thinking about them. How can you apply? How can you connect together? So what is your rhythm of the day? Do you connect together? Do you all have a call at 9 o'clock in the morning where you come together to set the priorities for the day, understand what went well yesterday and what didn't? And then converse. What do you talk about? So one of the key things that I think is missing in this world is that we're not talking about the things that we used to talk about. So it was a lot of the ad hoc conversations that drove a lot of the improvement or a lot of the engagement. So how can you create those ad hoc conversations in the world that we're living in? And then how do you collaborate? Back to the third C. So before, you would collaborate because you'd be able to have lunch together, you'd be able to meet together, you'd be able to go to that workshop together. But how can you think creatively about collaborating with each other, so you've still got that engagement? And then how do you celebrate together? Because I think people have stopped celebrating, or it's a bit forced now, because they think, oh well, people are going to be disengaged, they're all working at home, so we need to now we'll have a pub quiz, we'll do a quiz once a month together as a team. But that might not. Everybody's different. So it's taking those four C's: connect, converse, collaborate, and celebrate, and thinking differently about them. So how can you still connect? How can you still converse? And what are the key things that you want to converse about? How do you collaborate on those key things? And how, importantly, how do you celebrate together? There are so many options. I tried laughter yoga for the first time during lockdown. It was an amazing experience, and it allowed us to. So I did it with my family, so that it's via Zoom call with a laughter yoga chap called Pete, and we connected together as a family, laughing. So it's about just thinking creatively. If I was to add a fifth C to me four C's, so yes, I think it's a challenge.
Yeah, I totally with you on the celebrate as well. Out of the leaders that I've been interviewing, quite a number of them say, oh, we have a meeting on a Friday, but then the really dynamic ones have not just a meeting on a Friday, they have drinkies on a Friday. They're talking about who's had a baby, who's what, and it's a water cooler online,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Lee, sadly this year, Lee, no pantomime, but you can still have 3 wishes. If I gave you 3 wishes on what leaders should be focusing on to improve their business in these uncertain times, what would those 3 wishes be?
Oh, wow. Such a tough question. 3 wishes
Yeah.
that leaders can be.
And
So
only 3. Only 3. You can't have 4.
Okay. So I think the overarching theme for these 3 is going to be trust, because I think trust is the output, and an environment of high trust is what we need. But to actually make that tangible, because it's dead easy for people to say, oh yeah, we need to trust each other more and all of that stuff. But what does that actually mean in the workplace? So the 3 things that I would wish for leaders is to be able to identify more problems. A lot of leaders I talk to, they say we want a team of problem solvers. We want to solve problems all the time. And I think the main reason why we can't solve problems is because we're not honest and we don't find enough problems to solve. We just find the ones that we want to solve. So I would say wish number 1 is to identify plenty of challenges, identify plenty of opportunities. Wish number 2 would be then make it a safe place to talk about them. So empower and enable your teams to talk about things. Failure is an opportunity to learn. It's not a bad thing. So I would enable your teams a safe environment to talk about them. If somebody does something wrong, it's not an opportunity to beat them. It's an opportunity to learn what happened to cause that. And then the third one is empower your people to solve problems themselves. You're a leader, I guess. So something I heard the other week actually was there's too many leaders that are gripping tightly onto the steering wheel. They just need to hold onto the steering wheel loosely. They don't need to grip it so tightly. So allow and empower your people to solve problems. It's not for you to solve all the problems for them, because it comes back to learning. They're not learning anything if they're always just going to go, oh, John, I've got a problem. Can you solve this for me? No. Put the mirror back to them and let them enable them and empower them to solve the problem. So yeah, so the 3 things I would say are find more problems, create an environment that allows you to talk about these problems, and then empower your people to solve these problems. And that's that environment of trust that then starts to be created.
Brilliant answers to my 3 questions there. Lee Houghton of Get Knowledge. I've thoroughly enjoyed meeting you. You've come up with lots of exciting ideas there. I'm off after this interview to go to find out where I've been sheep dipping. Thanks for the interview.
No, amazing. No, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you. I'm going to go and get a little bit better dressed, actually. You're a very stylish man, Malcolm. It's been an absolute pleasure.